So the first thing that I want to show you, unfortunately I can't show you, is our offline functionality. Basically, if you find yourself disconnected from the web, then there will be a bar that appears at the top to let you know that you cannot use Fieldcode in its full functionality, and it will be another bar that pops up to let you know once you regain access. Unfortunately, I can't show you that because if I did, then it would, of course, cut me out of this call, and that would not be a great way of showing off anything. Second thing though is over here, you may or may not have used our AI help, but if you click on the help button here, we have an AI help that pops up here. Previously, the cursor would not pop in there automatically, so you have to find it and click in there. But in this case, as you see the cursor blinking there, I can type my question immediately. So I can say, for example, what is a dispatch group? And it will think for just a moment. It will search through our documentation, and it will provide me with an accurate answer. And I can ask another question immediately. So I can say, how do I create a dispatch group? And where the improvement is here is that when I ask that question, I don't have to scroll down to read the results once they load. Those results will go ahead and pop up, and now I can see that full result for my question immediately, rather than having to scroll down through. And again, that cursor is active there again, so I can just go ahead and ask another question and keep asking away until I'm satisfied with the information I've been given. All right. Another thing that's been changed as well is our component resizing. We noticed that there was a little bit of an issue where if we were to resize a component too small, then sometimes the menus would spill over, things would be difficult to read. Now there's a little bit more of a limit as to how you can resize things, but you're not going to have any issue with things spilling over or so forth. And of course, if you need to resize or reset to where you were, see how I've messed up my screen, I can't read it very well, we have our reset view button over here. And things will return back to their default size. So this ticket here has a part attached to it. We see that from the parts icon here. And this ticket happens to have a part that's going to a pickup and drop off location. And so we see the end of PUDO storage time here. We know that this is going to be sent back on the 7th. So it's going to be there from the 2nd, so as of today, and it will go back on the 7th. But if I change the shipping on this and it's no longer going to go to the PUDO, and we decide instead that we're going to send it directly to the end user, to the customer, then I can come here. I can say it goes to the affected. That's the person that we're going to go visit. And we no longer see that pick up and drop off wait time here. And that's because the end user doesn't need to send it back after a certain number of days. They can just hold on to it until our engineer gets there. And we're less concerned with that. So it doesn't really apply. And if I hit save, if I reopen up our shipping details, under the prior shipping, we see that end of PUDO, but under the current shipping, that field is just completely removed because it's just not applicable to when it's not being shipped to a pickup and drop off location. On our admin panel, let me go ahead and close this out here real quick, go back to the front of our admin panel. On our admin panel, there are now workflow error alerts and interface error alerts. Unfortunately, I have tried many times to create a workflow error, but apparently I'm just too good with Fieldcode and I was not able to create a workflow error. Even when provided with instructions on how to create the error, it just did not seem to want to happen for me. But I will go ahead and open up our work notes here and show you what that will look like. So at the top of your screen, you'll see something like this here. So one workflow error here for interface blocked queues. So if you have anything that's blocked on interface, you'll see that here. And same with the workflow errors. If your workflow is not yet published, this will show up in yellow instead. So if it's for an unpublished workflow, it'll show up in yellow. If you have problems with multiple workflows and one of them is a published workflow and the other one is an unpublished workflow, it will show up in red still because it's going to show you the worst situation first. So that's what you'll see at the top. And if you, on the side panels, you'll see over here under the gears and then also under the interfaces here, we'll see for the workflow monitoring that you'll see markings there to indicate that there are problems there as well. Once you go in, you'll be able to see what's been flagged and you'll be able to clear it or rerun it as you see fit. So form field validation. When it comes to forms, we had an issue where people would be making forms, but they would do something incorrectly and it wouldn't let them save the form. And that became just a bit of a problem for them. So I'm going to select the form here and I'm going to create a problem here to show you what that sort of looks like. So here, the field type engineer is marked as read-only and it hides the field. But if I were to mark it as if I were to hide the field and make it mandatory, that's a problem because if you're making it mandatory but they can't see the field, that's going to be an issue. And now when I do that, we see that it's indicated here, circling that, and lets me know, hey, that's not a valid setup for that field. Now, what it's telling me instead is that I can set a default if it's mandatory and hidden. So I could come in here and set a default. For this field, that wouldn't make sense. I would want to make sure that the engineer who's completing the work is what's added here to this field. So in that case, I would want to make sure that it was either not hidden and mandatory, or I would want to make sure that it's hidden but read-only and that it will pull that information in from the system itself instead. These last two here are specifically for our custom objects section. If you're not familiar with custom objects, don't worry about it too much, but it is part of our enterprise package here. So I've created a special section here called customers and devices. And in that I have my ticket pool, I have my ticket details page, and I have custom objects that I've created here. In this case, I have customers, which happens to be a Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. And if I select a customer, then I'll see the details for that customer, and I'll also see the devices that are assigned to that particular customer. If I select this device here, for example, at the top, this generator, then we'll see the details about that. So for example, ticket 360 is assigned to this particular device. And if I select ticket 360, if we scroll down, we actually see that at the bottom as well. It's also indicated on the ticket. What's changed here is before, of course, you could set up your workflow to create a ticket and you'd have a special form for that. But when you would create the ticket, it would automatically create it for the project for which that device is under. This device falls under the project of HVAC. But now we have an option that we can add to a ticket creation form, where it will default to HVAC still because that's the default project for this particular device. But I could come in and choose ITSM or my first project or any other project that I have active within my system. And now I could fill out this form. Most of it's filled out for me because I have things mapped, but I would still fill out perhaps the CME, the short description and description, and maybe I'd update that LSDT to create that. But I have an even better way to create tickets now, and that's due to a new feature that we have where we can automatically create tickets based on certain actions or certain workflow indications. So right now I can create a ticket manually, but let's pretend for a moment that this device and all the other devices that I'm in charge of are being monitored by, say, PRTG or some other network monitoring solution out there. And the status is typically up, and actually this one's still marked as down. Let's go ahead and put that as up. So it's typically up, but let's say that device goes down. I may not notice immediately when that device goes down, but the system can, because the system can receive an update from PRTG, or if I were to get a phone call from a customer, I could come in here with my edit form and say, okay, customer's telling me this is down, even if PRTG doesn't agree, and I can come and change the status. And when I change the status to down and I save it, I've set it up in my workflow to have a form that fills out automatically and creates a ticket. And we'll see that ticket pop up in just a moment. It should be ticket 361, I believe. Just give it a quick moment to catch up with me. There we go. There's ticket 361 that was just formed because that device is down. Now, when you create these workflows, there are some things that are going to be required. You're going to have to adjust the workflow in order to have it trigger. But you're also going to need to have all of the required fields for that form filled out within the form. So you'll either have to put in some default data in there, or you're going to have to do some mapping like I've done here, where with this one, it maps and goes ahead and pulls in the contact details, the location, and all of that. But for the description, I put in there devices down, action required on the form as a default description to make sure that the form actually or that the form submitted properly and the ticket was actually formed properly, because description is a required field for creating tickets. Now, I've shown you this with tickets, but this can be done with any kind of object within Fieldcode. So we could set up different actions that would trigger the creation of another customer or another device or any other custom object that I would set up within my system. I could trigger the creation of that or some sort of update to that through the workflows. And the last thing that I'd like to go ahead and show you guys today is that I do want to go ahead and show you the partner portal. So with the partner portal, we can now indicate when there are parts involving a ticket. So I'm going to take ticket 338 here, and I'm going to show you what the partner portal would look like for that ticket. So I select here, I can go ahead and preview this action, and I'm going to choose ticket 338 because I know that has a part on it. There we are. And if I select here, that'll go ahead and take me to the partner portal for that. And so now we have information about the device here. As well, we have information about the parts, including all the basic information about the part, its status, and its usage as well. So once the part is marked as used and consumed or otherwise, that will update here as well. So our partners can now see better information regarding the parts and make sure that they're filling things out in a better manner.